What's up guys, it's Manga Time once again and I'm here today to bring you my review of Bleach 552, The Fundamental Virulence. Obviously virulence has been kind of referred to before in Bleach to do with holification, so I kind of had an inkling that was where this chapter was going, but to be honest I didn't really, before I read it I didn't really understand how it would fit in. Also you'll see I'm in a new location. It's a bit dark, so I think if I open those curtains it's just going to light is just going to flood in. So this is an important chapter, people. It is a very important chapter. If you know me well, you'll know there's probably something I don't particularly like. However, for the most part, I'm actually pretty happy with this, with these events. And we shall get into that a little bit more later. However, it starts off with, obviously, Cang arriving on the scene. And Bazby's like, so you're stealing my prey, His Majesty's going to punish you. Interesting. Does that mean Urahara wants certain people to fight certain enemies? Well, we know he does to a degree because of what Cang says in a minute. However, that is really weird. What is Bazby going to be like? He jumped into my fight. Can you punish him, please? That's weird. Unless it's all to do with Urahara hating infighting, and so, you know, there's a bit of competition there between those two, maybe. I don't know. But Cang basically just says that His Majesty is the one who decided that we should kill the captain who we stole the Bankai from. That's interesting. I think it's going to be important as well, basically to do with what happens at the end of this chapter. Although, now that I think about it, it's not going to be that important. Well, I'll get onto it in a minute. So Cang kind of opens his cloak and reveals Matsumoto. Cool. We didn't know where she was. It was a point of contention. She drops to the floor. She's not actually dead, I don't think. But she has got a blood splatter. So it looks like Kang's kind of slashed her throat a little bit, actually. We get this kind of scene that I was actually really quite pleased with. Hitsugaya is unable to move, and he was just kind of like, Matsumoto, on the ground next to her. And Cang is a bit of a... I don't really know if he's a sadist, or if his personality is something else. He basically says to Toshiro that she's your precious vice captain, you should die next to each other. Now, that's potential sadism, but then what he says afterwards is kind of different. He says, I am the Sternritter I, the Iron, Cang do, the ones who live together should die together, that's my style. If he's just talking about his enemies, then yeah, that's kind of sadistic. However, I kind of think that's how he lives his life. Ironclad principles. Obviously, I don't know if that's exactly how his iron is going to work out, but that's all I can come up with at the moment. You get this really awesome panel of him standing over the two of them with his claws, and he just looks wickedly cool as well. He looks so awesome. He's my second favourite Sternritter, as you know, behind Az. Yeah, he looks very cool. I believe he's got like some kind of tunic on underneath his cloak. But yeah. He then says Bankai, which is interesting because I don't think Az said Bankai. Daiguren Hyourinmaru comes down, looks wickedly cool. He looks much cooler with it than Toshiro ever did. Just saying. Just saying. Toshiro looks on. Basically, you know, Cang do. I don't like this. Cang do, before last chapter, hadn't said a single word. Now, when he needs not to speak, he goes off on a massive spiel. Typical villain stupidity. And another thing I don't really like, if he lives by ironclad principles, it's kind of my own theory, but it's basically what he just said. Why isn't he just killing Toshiro like that? Why the unnecessary drama? Whatever, I mean, I still love him, I think he's awesome, but it's just a bit annoying on Kubo's part that he makes him do this. But basically he goes on about how the Bankai is beautiful and it lived together with you, but stealing this from you and letting it live after your death makes me sorry. Then we cut over to Urahara and, well, Muri, and it looks like Askin has actually disappeared, which is hilarious. And so basically, this is kind of wordy, this bit now, so I'm just going to have to read a little bit. Basically, Urahara, he hasn't necessarily found a way to recover Bankai. Well, he has sort of, but he to rephrase it, he's actually more found a way to. He's found a weakness in the method the Quincy used of stealing Bankai. So we don't actually know how they steal Bankai yet still, but we do have more information pertaining to Quincy's. Basically, Urahara says it's possible to block them, and it's probable that you could take back a Bankai that's been stolen. Yeah, it's quite funny a moment where one of the R&D members is like, Urahara's awesome, and he's like, oh. Obviously because Miri hates Urahara. And obviously Miri gets pretty annoyed that Urahara has managed to install a communication device in his clothes, which is hilarious because he actually hasn't. He appears behind Miri from a Senkai gate. And he was calling them from the Dangai. So it's a nice bit of light-hearted humour considering how bleak things are with Hitsugaya at the moment. And he wants to work with Miri, and obviously Miri's not very happy about that. Obviously, the fact that... But then Urahara points out that the fact that Miri has the Room of Light indicates that Miri has already figured out ways of battling the Quincy. So, we then basically get Urahara's method. We then get Urahara's way of blocking Bankai, and it does make sense for the most part. There is actually one thing that it kind of doesn't work with, and I'll explain that in a minute. But Urahara reveals a small set of tablets called the Shinei Yaku, and apparently, basically, Urahara remained in Hoikamundo after he discovered that the Quincy could steal Bankai, because the Arrancar's resurrection allows one to transform the power of the soul into a sword, right? And it's almost the same as Bankai. So Urahara theorizes, as a lot of other people did, why are they not stealing resurrection as well? Because obviously Harabelle was still in her release form when we saw her, which is nice. That's a big bit of foreshadowing by Kubo. He was like, look at this, she's still in her release form. Someone please pick up on that. So yeah, that's really good. A lot of people did pick up on it as well. And basically, there's two reasons. Either, one, the resurrections can't be stolen, or, Miuri comes up with this one, they would be a demerit for the Quincy. So, basically, Miuri says that considering the research regarding hollows, he can't see a reason why they wouldn't be able to steal it, so he just thinks they're not doing it for a reason. So they then set up Tente Kura with all the captains, and Urahara talks about them. He talks to them, and basically he sent these black pills to all the captains. It's interesting that the black pill arrives next to Omeda, because Kubo's still not letting on that. Well, Soifon's obviously going to be okay, but he's still not letting on what's happened to her. And basically he says, touch the pill with your hands, feet, or sword, and it will be absorbed from there and penetrate the inner side of your soul. So Hitsugaya touches it and it kind of glows. Kang asks him what it is, so he's still not killed him. Alright. And basically, Miuri says that there is one thing about the Quincy's he's always been wondering about. Maybe the hatred the Quincy have towards Hollows isn't just based on the fact that they kill your family and friends, because you can't realistically hate something that has no will or an ideology for that long. So apparently, Miuri comes up with the idea that the only reason they really have a grudge against Hollows is because Hollows pose a direct threat to Quincy life. Like, an actual threat. And basically, like a genetic threat. And basically, it's true. The Quincy have no way to defend from Hollows. Everything composing a Hollow is poison for a Quincy. They're eroded by a Hollow if they come into contact with the reiatsu. Quincy can't Hollowfy. Now, this is fine. At this point, I was like, this is alright. I can get behind this, because everything but the rain massively foreshadowed this. As soon as Masaki was bit by that Hollow, she Hollowfied, but not properly. She was going to die, and her soul was going to blow up. So basically, they take a little bit of Hollow's power and they Hollowfy Bankai for a split second, and that Bankai will then become poison for a Quincy. and the last panel is Kangdu kind of in shock as one of Daiguren Hyourinmaru's wings snaps off, and blood spurts out. That's the end of the chapter. So, I'm just going to start by giving the chapter a 9. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Great art. Great art. Awesome to get a bit more development for Kangdu. However, I really don't want to see him go down very fast. I'm kind of hoping he hasn't actually been hurt. The blood could have come from the wing, because, well, I think we've seen it bleed before. But yeah, the blood could have come when the wing broke, or it could have come out of his back, because maybe the Bankai was wrenched out of him, I don't know. But yeah, I don't think he's down. But yeah, like I said, I didn't like how Kubo made him out to be a bit of an idiot. Like, why not just kill him off? Kill Toshiro off? Because, you know, I didn't like that much. It was cool to get Kangdu's epithet, though. That was neat. However, there is one thing that, and to be honest, yeah, the Bankai stealing, the method of stopping it, actually makes a bit of sense. You know, it's quite good. Considering most people figured that Kubo would have a difficult time justifying that. I mean, he hasn't actually come up with a way of actually stealing the Bankai. That's going to be an interesting explanation. The one thing I don't really like at all, however, or at least it doesn't make any sense at the moment, is if everything to do with the Hollow is poison, everything, then how the hell was Kurge able to absorb Alon? With apparently no detrimental side effects. Like, so poisonous that Kangdu's back blows up as soon as it happens. How was he able to do it? Kubo definitely has to address that. That's possible plot hole. But I don't know, because he seems to have planned everything out so well. Like, when you see Harabel in her release form, that's before Kurge does that. So, yeah. I don't know, that's weird. But, yeah, I mean, overall, great chapter. I like the fact that it's not a complete game changer. Basically, I think if you have stolen a Bankai but you don't use it, you'll be fine. It's if you use it, then you're screwed, maybe. Because then it's connected to your body, I guess. I mean, that's kind of it, really, for the chapter. Panel of the week. Good panels this week. Lots of cool Kang panels. The one where he's got his knives out, he looks awesome. The one where he summons Daiguren Hyourinmaru looks awesome. Even the last page looks cool. That's when he's getting hurt. But, you know, I really like the panel at the beginning with him and Basby, because the two of them are really cool together, actually. So, yeah, I think I'm going to go with that one. Although, yeah, there's a lot of good panels this week, a lot of good panels. But, yeah, you guys let me know what you thought of the chapter below in the comments. What do you think of Urahara's method? Does it make sense to you? What do you think about Kurge? I mean, how does that even work? Where do you think the fight's going to go next? Do you think this is going to be an instant turnaround for the Shinigami? What it does mean is that we probably should now be able to start seeing some awesome new Bankai, which I can't wait for. It also means that the Vizard were always immune to having their Bankai stolen. Interesting. And is that the reason why Ichigo can't have his stolen? Because it's slightly hollow? I think so. I do think so. It also means that the Vizard are probably immune. Well, they are now, but they probably were. So yeah, that's it for my review, guys. I shall catch you later for a companion video. But let me know in the comments below what you thought of this chapter. I'm going to give it a 9. And until then, I shall see you guys later. See ya.